Hello, everyone. Hello, campers. Welcome to our next session for the afternoon for Warrior Goddess Summer Camp. This session being Warrior Goddess Weaving with Terrasol, and that happens to be me, aka Sparkle, as you can see down by there. Welcome to my bunk. This is my bunk right now. This is where I'm hanging out in our camp cabin. Yay! So this is my little bunk. And so for today, I thought it would be super, super fun if we gathered some flowers and we put things together and we did our best to make flower crowns. And I'm really, really excited to share them with you. I put one together a little while ago just to give you an idea. Let's see, how do I want it to go right now? I'm going to do it this way. And this is what I made. Let's see, it's hard because it's backwards. Okay, so let me do this. There you go. And I made this earlier today. So we're going to make something similar. Depending on what flowers you have, obviously yours will be very, very different. Oh, I'm freezing often. I'm sorry. Hopefully this gets better. If not, I'll move somewhere. I'm not sure where. But hopefully it picks up and gets better for us. What's going on, Wendy? So, hello. And they're all right, so hopefully it resets a little bit and picks up and gets better. Sometimes in the afternoon it slows down. You do not need ribbon. I just threw that on there and I'll talk about that later. The ribbon is just there for decoration. It's not part of the crown. Okay, so just see. So we just basically made a wreath out of flowers. All right, so that's what we're kind of going for. Let me share the importance of why I thought this would be a really fabulous exercise for aligning with life, which is Chapter 2 of Warrior Goddess Training with Heather Ashamara. Let me tell you, first of all, before I get to why it aligns so beautifully, why I think it's my favorite chapter of the book, or at least one of them. I have many favorites. But there's a reason that Align with Life, which is Chapter 2 of the book, is my favorite. And the reason is because it's been such a powerful lesson for me. Aligning Okay, hello. I hope this is working now. I did a few shifts. You'll notice I'm back by the pool for those that were with our last session. So I thought I would try and just let me know if this is working out better for you, if you're able to see me. And that would be super helpful. So hopefully this works better for us and we don't have any more little snafus, but it's perfect for aligning with life. Yay! We're back. Hello. All right. So why I love this chapter of the book, and honestly, the whole lesson of aligning with life, and why I wanted to share about that today is because it exasperates me and infuriates me. All right. So usually when there's something that kind of gets under my skin, and it's where I struggle with, and where I struggle with is where I find that that's, where I'm pulled to, and kind of cleaning it up and doing my work with it. And for me, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, and that's really kind of saved me from a lot of unnecessary strife, is to just align with life. Sounds really simple. Just align. Whatever comes up, just align and go with it and flow with it. And I resisted. And I think I'm, finally starting to get it the more I've played with it. So that's kind of why I really wanted to work with that today. And flowers and making a flower wreath, I have learned as I've worked on them and all of that, is a fabulous way of aligning with life. Because things don't often go exactly how we anticipate. So the first thing we're going to do is, before we even start or look at flowers or anything, is set our intent. What is it we would like to do? Right? And this is part of aligning. What's our intent? What do we want to bring? So today, our intent is to make a flower crown. Pretty simple. And to see what gifts they have. What the flower crown, and this is how we, the letting go of it, because we've set our intent. We're going to make a flower crown. We don't know what it's going to look like at the end. We don't know what's going to happen between now and then. We're just going to go in and make it. Right? So that's perfect for what we're going to do. Now, I went because I knew I was going to be in New Mexico, and there's not a lot of wildflowers around where I'm at. So I did stop and pick some different flowers up from the florist, and big props to Scott's Florals in Amarillo, Texas. Dude, if you're in Amarillo, send them some love, because they went so out of their way to open the place when it wasn't open, and just love on me. And we're so excited when I explained what we were doing and that I was sharing this with y'all. So they really helped me, kind of pick and choose. So super props to them. So I have some, and I'm not going to remember the names. So I'll show you what I've gathered, and then you can take a look. So I've got this one, this one. This is my proper floral terminology. We have this one. I have this, which is kind of leafy and viney. And then I have some baby's breath. And then I also have a few other little flowers we can weave in. One of the first things that's super important is to understand that we have to be working with things that are flexible, and you have to be working with part of the stem that is flexible. So as I go down and the stem gets thicker, you're going to notice it's going to want to resist, and it's going to want to snap. All right. We can work with a bit of snapping, but not a lot. So you want to have something that's kind of flexible and bendy. All right. So all of these are flexible and bendy up to a point. This one's not as flexible and bendy. So I have to be careful, because once it snaps, it gets harder to weave them. But look, see, this one is very flexible and bendy. See? Okay. But they can also snap. So just being gentle with your flowers, loving them, thanking them for their gifts. So if you found some outside around you, awesome. If you pick some up from wherever, awesome too. So for me, there's a couple ways you can start. And this really is a practice of just finessing, right? It's really about aligning with life. And there gets to be a point. There was when I was making this little one, not that long ago, because I was making it earlier today. I was really frustrated. It was not, and I was like working the session to make this flower wreath, flower crown, and it's not working, and it's never going to work. And this one had flower. Say that in just a lot of start and hopefully is better. You can see. All right, so, and this takes a little bit of practice. So I'm going to start with this one, and I have a couple of those. All right, and it honestly is, you take one and then another, and then you start kind of twisting them around each other. So if you'll see, I have this one, and then I'm going to twist it around the other. Okay. Now I'm still going to hold on to it, and you can slide it down a little bit so you get more length. Okay, so you'll see the ends bringing longer. Because eventually, remember, we want length that will go around our head, but flexible length, still cutting in and out. All right, let's try this one more thing. Okay, and I'm frozen. Thank you all for hanging in and waiting. I'm back. We'll give this another shot. And here's where Lighting with Life comes in, right? If for some reason during our session time together, we're not able to get this all straightened out, I'll try and put a little video together and share it in the next day or two so that you have it, all right? But we're gonna hold right now that our internet stays stable and really good. So I'm gonna hold on to that and we'll see. Okay, so we'll just play with it. But it's aligning with life, so we don't know what's gonna happen. So here's our flowers. What you wanna do, and this is the general idea, I'll give you the general idea of it. So we start weaving around, right? So this one, and actually I'll pull it down a little bit, so I start weaving it around. Okay, and you'll see, so it starts, I'm just twisting it around each other. And you have to really hold on to it because it's not gonna wanna stay that way. Okay, what'll happen is eventually with our finessing is that we will be able to get it to connect better at the end. And if something breaks along the way, don't fret. You can always, bring it back. See, right now I'm realizing probably I'm gonna have to cut these stems off or these are gonna break. These ends right now, I can already tell probably by the time I bend them all the way in, they're gonna break. But we're not quite to the point where I want to attach it yet. Okay, so then I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna bring it down a little bit further and start weaving it in as well. So it really is just this weaving process of kind of binding them together. And where they actually will stay is once we've got the whole thing connected. Okay, so right now if I let go of this, this won't stay. All right, it's not connected well. So at some point you'll find you have enough. Okay, and when you start doing this, they might fuss around. We can weave them in after. All right, so this is the fussy part, and this is the part where I was getting frustrated. I'll be totally honest. Okay, because you need multiple layers. So I'm going to try and bring this around very gently. Okay, and what happens is you're going to like weave it upon itself. So I'm just kind of twisting it around. This one will be a little bit little. You can make yours bigger, or you can actually leave it this size. All right, so now we're starting to get it. So it's really just about, we want to get the crown shape, weaving it in. Okay, so now that's going to stay. Look, we have some tension. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this around. And that's going to stay. And don't worry about the ends for now, because what we're going to do is now that we kind of have the crown shape, and look, with one hand it's holding, which is a good thing. Okay, totally good. Is I'm going to take my next bunch, and you'll see this one's kind of bent a little bit because I got them yesterday, so they're starting to get a little not so happy. I'm going to bring it on top and just start weaving it around as well. All right, as best as you can. And you're just literally weaving stuff in and out. And that one just snapped. You felt it snap. And that's okay, because I'm actually going to keep going with it, even when it snapped. As long as it doesn't break right off. If it bends a little bit, okay, it's okay. So, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it about halfway. Oh, and see, I came undone. What? That's okay. We're going to do it again. Bring it back around. Okay, and then I'm going to take this other that I have and I'm going to weave it around. Look, weaving. And then, see, here, I'll show you. There's this little spot in here. See little spots? You can tuck other ones that you're trying to hold to get to connect and like weave in there. So I'm going to tuck that in. So this one that I'm using to bring around, this one, I can tuck it in. Oh, I got a big snap there. And that's okay because I'll cut that piece off, but it lets me bring the rest around. Okay. And what I'm going to encourage you to do as you're playing with this is to let go of it, some idea of perfection and that it's all going to go perfectly smooth. It is going to be perfect. Whoa, that one broke too. And I'm going to keep going. As long as it's still connected, the break is okay. Okay? If it breaks off, then you have a problem. And then I'm going to bring it around. See, so now that's twisted. And I'm going to try and tuck it into these guys. See, and now that's tucked. Okay? So we're getting there. See, we're starting to make a crown. This can take a while to play with. So even if if during the session or right now that's not happening, right? It can. You just have to keep playing and trust, playing with it and playing with it. And that's, one of the things about aligning with life, right? Is that sometimes we just don't know when a break is going to happen. We don't know what's going to work, what's going to happen over any time. And we just have to, what was our intent? Come back to our intent. Our intent was to create a flower crown. So we're working on it, right? Now, see, now it's holding itself together, but I still have this little piece hanging out. I can go back in and kind of, here, I'll show you. As I'm twisting it, see, this is a little piece that's hanging out that I don't like sticking out like that because I don't like the way it looks. So I can kind of bring it back around and it's the end of a stick. So it's got a little bit of tension and I'm going to like tuck it under another one. So they start twisting upon each other and then tuck it in. So now it's tucked in. So if you can see, like it's tucked in under here, hopefully you can see. So like this one lifted up and this tucked in and now it's done. Now that means this one popped up. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I just keep going around and tucking them in. And that it's okay if like one's sticking up like this. I can tuck it in if I want or I can leave it. Okay, it's all good. It's just how do you feel about it? What do you want it to do? So there we go. We have the base. So I'll let you play with that for a minute. And I'll share a little story about aligning with life. And while y'all play a little bit. So hopefully our internet is connecting and stable and we're not running into too many problems. So I'll share a little story and it actually fits beautifully with this discussion about Tara being Canadian. I heard you're Canadian and you're about. Yep, this is true. Gives me away quite often. So, aligning with life, something I've resisted a lot. And I have been given, we're all given opportunities to practice. And how we go with the flow, I guess is another way to say it. How do we take what's happening and let ourselves kind of rest into it? Even when it's not what we wanted, it's not what we planned, we don't want it at all. Like there's nothing about a situation we like. These opportunities, and some of them, and I don't mean to make light of some of them because some challenges, we'll call them obstacles, are really, really tricky. No doubt about it. So I never, ever, ever wish to make light of any situation because, gosh darn it, being human can be really hard. That's true. And for lots of different reasons for lots of folks. So, I want to honor that we have challenges and struggles in life and that they come up and they can test us. They can really, really test us. And one that came up for me was a couple years ago, actually, because I'm a Canadian girl living in Texas. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas right now. And a few years ago, when we first moved, my husband and I thought we were all set. He had his green card. We had been working with the lawyers. We had sold all of the items in our home. Our kids away were at school. And I was allowed to come back and forth and visit in Texas. So he was in Texas as legal resident, and I was a visitor because it was just for the paperwork and the timing so that I could stay in Texas. But we were assured by the lawyers and by everybody we were working with and people we talked to that no problem, you will get to stay in Texas, right? I mean, I wasn't working, I was following all of the rules. And we actually went to Canada. It had been about 4 or 5 months, I forget now. And we would come up because for a special occasion, and we were really excited. And when we went to come back into Texas, we got to the border, and Tara was denied entry into the US. Me being Tara. They said, or Sparkle, they said, we're not letting Sparkle come in because, just of all these different things that they had decided. And it was fairly discretionary, right? So they had that discretion. And it just was kind of a punch in the gut for me at the time. All right. I mean, it was a while ago now, but it was a big punch in the gut. No sound. Oh no. My sound back? Well, I'll keep talking. Maybe you can hear me now. I don't know. Anyway, it was a big punch in the gut. And I was living in Canada now, but I didn't have a house. I didn't have any of my stuff. And I didn't have, my husband had to live in Texas because that's where our home was, in the house. So for the next 6 months, I had to align. And, it was not an easy alignment. I was I was shocked. I was startled. I was frustrated. I was sad. I was all of these emotions came. And I was really, really angry, right? I wasn't hurting anything, right? Why wasn't I allowed to be in Texas? There was no reason that anybody could see. I was just living at the house. And yet this had happened. And all of a sudden I felt everything flip upside down. Boom. And I am so grateful now for the tools that I had already picked up from this work with Heather Ash and from with Warrior Goddess Training and, the women and the lessons. And because it helped me over that time align with what was really happening, right? So I had, moments of big resistance and upset, and I had, my reactions at the beginning, and then I was able to align with it a lot better. I was able to see what are the gifts of what's happening. Oh, your crown's not working, Wendy. Keep trying, sweetheart. Keep trying. What part are you struggling with? Let me know. Is it just not wrapping around? If the stems are too thick and breaking, you're going to run into problems. But the hard part is that connecting. Okay, it really is to get the crown shape. Right, that's the trick. And that's just, we're being gentle, and sometimes you kind of got to force it a little bit too. Also, just like aligning with life, gentle, and sometimes you just got to push a little harder. Let me know what's going on. And if anyone else has any queries coming up with the crowns, please share. Right? And depending, if maybe you switch to different flowers, you can try different ones and see with the stem if they wrap around better, right? So that's also something you can play with. So just keep working at it and keep trying. It can take a little bit, believe me. This one went together so much easier than this one did, and they're made with the same flowers and literally an hour apart. So this one took me 3 or 4 times as long just to get the circle. I mean, and now it's already and I have to twist it back around, and so you'll see because there's already stems sticking out on this one. Okay, so go ahead and keep playing with it. But just because this one actually went together pretty quick and easy, this one did not. And look what happened to this one. The one I made this morning just fell apart in my hands. See, that's what happens. And yet this one seems to be holding together much better. So it may just be, playing and trying again. Exact same flowers, but at the exact same time, at the exact same place. All right. So just keep playing with it and practicing. All right, and when one falls apart like this one just did, oops, and I can, if I want, I can go back and try and reattach this one now. Right? So it's all good. They're all good. So aligning life can just, as with this, right? It can really be a tricky thing to do. And yet can be so, so helpful. And I think with the flower crown, why this really spoke up to me is the idea is that I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to fall apart. I don't know what's going to happen. But that's what my intent was, to make it. So if that's what your intent is, keep trying and keep working at it and keep playing with it. Because it will come. It will. You just have to keep bringing your intent back and your intent back, and not being completely attached to what it looks like. All right, so if I was attached to the fact that, the purple flowers had to be on the top, which I could be, but that might just take me longer. Right? But if my intent was just to make a flower crown, to make a circle, then I do my best to make it the circle. And the flowers will be where they are. Those are the gifts, the magic that happens as you put it all together, right? And then if I wanted to take one of these big ivy things, I could totally, I'm going to try this. This is going to be really fun. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to try and wrap it around. This will be really, I feel like this is almost really like a crown of ivy. Let me try this. Okay, see, I'm going to let you watch what I'm doing. So I'm going to try, and you can keep doing this with more things, and you can keep looping it once you have the structure, right? And then, so when you get to the end, just to show you, so here's the end. I've been wrapping, I wrapped it around, and I get to the end, and literally what I just want to do is find the stems and tuck it in, right? So you just want to tuck it in. So find a spot where you can tuck it in. Oop, and as I did that, I popped this one, but that's okay. So it popped. I'll just re-tuck it somewhere else. So you see, it keeps happening. And then I can do this. Now, the thing is, this is not going to, as I get near the end, this is probably not going to, this is going to snap. But let's see. Yep. So let's do this. Let's tuck this guy in. Because now everything's starting to snap and play. So, all right. So we'll get this guy finished up because I want to show you a few different things we can do with it too. Boom. There you go. Tuck that one in. That's curly crunchy, but that's okay. And then, this is going to snap. I'm going to try it though. Ready? I'm going to give it a shot. If it snaps, it snaps. Almost there. Come on, little flower crown. Don't snap on me. It didn't snap. Okay. I was expecting it to snap. So, and then this piece. And then I have to do this one. And I'm going to try and weave it around too. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut that piece off because it's a really thick stem. I have scissors here somewhere. Here they are. So this is a really thick stem, and it's just going to get really hard. So I'm just going to cut it off. Boom. There. Ooh, flowers go flying everywhere. And so now I have more. And then I can, if I want these extra pieces, because it was a leafy vine, I can wrap those and tuck them in. So it just becomes this game of tucking in. But it's kind of fun to leave this too. I can leave that little sprig just kind of sticking out. See, you can see it from both sides if I want. Okay, so that's what we can do. And then, and this popped out again. Look at that. A lesson just came up again. I tucked it and it didn't stay where I did. So I'm going to try and tuck it a different way. Thank you, Flower Crown, for all of your lessons. You are fabulous. Okay, let's see if that stays. All right, and then what I can do is I have some of this gorgeous little baby's breath. So I have this little piece. So if I wanted to attach it, see, little baby's breath, I can start tucking in. So once you have this, you can start tucking in other flowers. So if you have big flowers, like a sunflower, or perhaps you have some carnations, or you have other things, once you kind of have the viney bit done, you can go ahead and then, cut, and with some stem left, and start finding tighter places in the crown where you can tuck them in. You want to find a spot that's going to hold on to it and grab it, and then you just tuck it in. There we go. See, and now I have a little bit of baby's breath. See? And if I wanted to add another one of these round things, I could wrap and put some more. So there's lots of things once you kind of have the base. I kind of like all this. And the other thing you can do is, as you're making it, try it on and see what it looks like on your head, right? So I'll look at this and I'll go, I kind of like it how it's doing this. Which way do I want to place it? Right? Do I want to do it this way? Let this go off to the side. Now, this is just sitting on top of my head. It's not, if I had wanted to make it go around, I could have done a larger one that came down further. Same process, you may need to add in an extra stem or two that you wrap and weave, right? But you can make the whole circle bigger. And I think this is pretty fabulous for what it is. And then it just sits there. It's like a real crown, right? Like, there you go, see, I'm a crown. And then, and this is where I was talking about the ribbon. Where did I put my ribbons? Here, I'll use the ribbon from the one I made earlier because it's right here. So if you want to decorate it, there's a couple different things you can do. You can add ribbons, you could add bells, you could add really anything you want to decorate it with. If you have, you know, a feather that you found, you could tuck it in. You could make whatever you want. I mean, you can just be creative. So what I'll do is I'll go like, okay, I'm going to wear it like, which way am I going to wear it? Like you can twist it around. Which way do I like it? So I kind of like it this way, right about there. That's what I'm going to do. It's a little bit tiny, but that's okay. So then I'm going to take my ribbon, and then you just tie your ribbon around it. Nothing fancy about the ribbon. But you don't have to put ribbon. This is just another thing to show what you can do. Oh, I know where the ribbon is. The ribbon's in my pocket. Ha! You guys can't hear this, but Spatula is over in the corner there laughing at me. Yep, because I found my ribbon. I couldn't find it. She's amused. All right, so here's some ribbon. I just got some regular white ribbon. It's kind of fun. I'm going to cut off a piece. I'm going to make this one bigger. And I'm actually going to do a double ribbon just because I can. There you go. So it's like double. Okay. And whoosha. And I'm literally just tying them, and I'll show you in a second here what I'm doing. But I'm literally found a spot. So here, I just found a spot and I'm tying it on, boop, just like that. Nothing fancy. I could tie it in a double knot if I want, but I'm not really worried it's going to fall down. And then, well, maybe I will. I'm just going to tie a little double knot so that my ribbon is secure. You could use different colors of ribbon, different lengths of ribbon. You could use like really thin. You know what's really pretty is some really thin ribbon. I like this like really long thin ones. So, and then at the bottom back, I can cut off the ends, but you don't have to. They kind of look pretty just the way they are, but I'll cut these ones off. I do. All right, and then just let them dangle. So then when I put this on my head, actually, I can figure out which way I want to go. But anyway, so I figure out which one I'm doing. And then I have ribbons. See? There. Now I have ribbons coming down, and I could put some on the other side, and then I can have lots of ribbons. See? You can. There. So you see, it's really just about playing with it and seeing. So how is yours going, Wendy? You were talking about yours. Are you getting anywhere with the wire frame, with the frame? Or anyone else? How is anyone else? Is there anyone else that's working on them? I would love to hear how your crown making is going if you're trying it. And here's the other tip I'm going to tell you. And I put for these ones that we don't need to use, like we weren't going to use green tape or wire, but you totally can. If you have like that green floral tape or you have wire and you just can't get them to connect together, get a little like, you know, that really thin floral wire and wrap it around it. Like nobody's going to like tell on you. There's no like flower crown police, right? So if you want to get a little piece of wire, if that helps, you know, if it helps it hold together for you, then use a little piece of wire. That totally works, right? There's a reason florists, professionals who make this kind of stuff use it. So you can use that. You can use green floral tape. Like you can just play with it and, you know, just to encourage you to play and have fun and understand that it's just about aligning with what the stems want, what the flowers want, right? It really is just about kind of feeling into it and seeing what you can create. You know, understanding that there's no right or wrong, right? We're just playing and doing our best and trying it out. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes it works and falls apart a little bit later. And it's all good because the experience is fabulous. So like, look at this guy. There we go. So I'm going to put it on. Let me find the right spot. I have to decide. This is tricky, y'all. Which way do I like it? There, I think I like it this way. I might need to like put this little, like I feel like these guys sticking up is a little frustrating to me, but I'm going to leave it for now so that we have a crown. So yeah, so, Wes, can we add a photo somehow? I would love it. You should be able on Facebook after the record. I think it's after the recording. You might be able to do it now. But after the session is done, it'll be a post in one of the units. So you can totally, please share a photo in the unit or just add it to the group. Right? So yeah, so if you've got photos. Wendy, I have it on my head a little lopsided and thin here and there, but on the whole, it is about aligning with myself and the beauty of all of it, the process of being in truth to ourselves. Love it, Wendy. Awesome. Yeah, so just play and have some fun with it. And, and embracing that aligning with life doesn't mean just letting whatever's going to happen and not setting your intent and just kind of setting back and going, whatever, right? It's about still having our intent, still having a set path we want to take. It's about creating what we want. I will, about Texas. It's about creating what it is we want to create. And then all the things pop up in the way, seeing how can we flow with it? What's it there for us? All right, so I'll go back to my story about Texas. I'm going to leave my crown on just because it makes it funner to tell the story. So there were reasons. So here's the beautiful thing. There ended up being incredibly beautiful reasons that I was supposed to be in Canada during that time. I didn't know that, the evening that, I was in this shock when they basically said, no, turn around and go back, right? I didn't know that there were gifts coming. I was just in shock and it felt horrible. And as the time unfolded, we were actually separated, my husband and I, for about 6 months. I was in Canada. He would come and visit, but I was in Canada by myself. So a couple really beautiful things happened. One of them is for the first time in my entire life, I had my own apartment and lived by myself. I had never done that. I had moved from my parents' home into a dorm, right? And then I moved in with my sister for a little bit. And then I had got married very young. And my husband and I had moved in together. And I had never lived by myself. And for that 6 months, I got to live by myself. So it was a beautiful gift. And a quick story, we're almost, out of time here, but really quick story here's a funny story about having my apartment. So my husband came every 2 or 3 weeks. He would come and he would stay, but he would only come for the week, because we would come Friday night and he would leave. And I had neighbors who paid attention to everything, but I never actually really talked to them. I just knew they were watching, right? Like, you know this. And so I made up these fun stories about what must the neighbors be thinking about this woman who was living in the apartment, because every second or third weekend she had this gentleman caller who would arrive in her apartment and just stay for the weekend, and then he was gone, right? Because you couldn't sneak up. It was old creaky floors. It was an old house. So there was no sneaking when he got there. Everybody heard if somebody came or gone. So I had created this beautiful, we were having this romance of this gentleman coming in who would visit me. And it was really, really beautiful. And it allowed us to kind of play with that, which was really, really fun. And there were other really sweet gifts. There was no doubt by the end of the 6 months when I did get my green card and happy danced and was able to, go back to Texas and stay without worrying about having, that it was really clear why. And there was really clear why I had been placed there and why that had happened. But I had to get out of the way to see those gifts. And I had to align and let it be. Right? So that's my story about it. But it was a huge lesson for me in aligning and just going with what is presented, even when it feels pretty darn freaking. I'm not going to swear, I swear. Freaking horrible. So yeah, so aligning with life. I would love to see your floral crowns. If you get a chance to make them either today or another day, please, share them with us and keep trying if you're running into any difficulties. And, I'm going to even play with mine still once we're off the call. I'm going to add in a little bit more here and there, right? So I'm going to tuck it in because I actually don't like it when they're sticking straight up. That's kind of funny. So I'll keep playing with it. It's a creation in process. All right, everyone. Sending so much love to you. We have another session coming up very soon. So, mwah, kisses. And I think our next session will be, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I think it's with Jamie. Yeah. So I'm really excited for that one and self-care. And it's going to be awesome. So, mwah, sending big love to you all. Bye.